Well, in a pleasant surprise, earlier today we got an official teaser of our upcoming content for Arc Raiders. Once again, coming this upcoming Tuesday, the 24th. And until then, we're kind of just waiting around, finishing our final week of trials perhaps. So if you care about that, make sure you're grinding for your rank up or keeping your rank, as it's the last week to do so for this season. But up until next week, we're kind of just chilling. But that doesn't mean we don't know a bit more of what to expect on Tuesday. In this one, we're taking a look at what Embark laid out for us and the upcoming Shrouded Sky update we'll see for the game and the content to follow. Drop your thoughts as we go along, drop a like if you guys enjoy the video, and make sure to subscribe for more Arc Raiders and other FPS content. I'd love to have it in the community, but for now, let's get into it. So earlier, Embark dropped an official teaser trailer for Shrouded Sky's update, along with an accompanying blog post. The first bit, the trailer, smaller, we can tackle right up front. It shows a bit of the upcoming map condition and what you can expect, expanded upon further in that blog post, but we see a large swirling storm of some kind, what we later learn to be a hurricane topside, with Shawnee pleading to Celeste to pick up, while the backdrop changes from map to map, showing off a bit of the ambient environment of this new map condition. At the end, while smaller and not mentioned in the accompanying blog post, we see our sort of key art for the update, this being additional cosmetics that we'll see among the update, perhaps tethered to a new Raider deck or something in the shop. But while the skins themselves look pretty good, like that raincoat and goggled one may actually be the first skin outside of my beloved Sforza skin that I might actually use. But if you notice something else here, well, there's a beard on that bald player. While not confirmed, that's our first bearded player that we've seen, and funnily enough, it's been something the community has been asking for at large since the game launched in terms of customization options. So maybe, just maybe, beards could be finally on the way. But okay, we can't really dissect much more from that 20-second teaser, so let's jump into the accompanying blog post. Over on the Arc Raiders site, we got a new blog entitled Hurricane Map Condition, What You Need to Know. Right there, it's not just a standard storm we're seeing, it's a hurricane that's making its way topside. In lore, it said, the Rust Belt 2181, it's a doozy. The climate is damaged and unpredictable, causing violent weather events across the surface. You've already experienced some of these, but southern Italy is about to kick up another challenge to raiders who dare brave the surface. Speranza has weathered storms before, but none quite like the approaching hurricane. Citizens can hear the screeching winds from their refuge below ground, winds that batter and bruise raiders foolhardy enough to venture up. Shawnee is prepared to lock down. Nobody leaves, but to a raider, that's just too tempting, isn't it? The blog further continues with a few additional updates on what to expect with the map condition. They said on February 24th, the hurricane will strike. During this new map condition, raiders will need to contend with several intense gameplay challenges. Firstly, the wind. This will change how you navigate topside. When you have a tailwind, you'll feel fast and nimble. It's making you a little faster, pushing with you. But fighting against the gales will inhibit your speed quickly and drain your stamina. Throwables will also behave differently in these conditions, and it may take a while to master the trajectory of thrown items like grenades. Other aspects of gameplays like smoke, gas, and even jumping will be affected by the power of the hurricanes. So that's a big fundamental adjustment here that we'll touch on in just a second, but a lot more to this than maybe initially anticipated. Debris is also something we'll have to contend with, where the gale forces of the hurricane will inevitably pick up dirt and debris from the surface. Your shield was not built to handle this onslaught and will glitch and spark as it's struck by smaller items. Out in the open, this will degrade your shield and make you more visible to other raiders, seeing that sort of almost what would be a hit effect on your shield if it were otherwise a gunfight. You'll have to decide where to wear your shield and when it becomes a hindrance. Visibility is also something we'll have to contend with, where the skies have shifted and low clouds make topside almost unrecognizable, where your vision will be limited, meaning Arc can easily become an unwelcome surprise. But there's also those raiders out there, so you gotta stay vigilant and try and listen to the howls for the wind to gauge the danger, but low visibility can also be turned to your advantage. When shieldless, other raiders will find it harder to spot you amongst the chaos in the storms. Again, you're not having that sort of glitching effect, visually speaking, on your shield. Finally, they detailed first wave caches, which a raider will now have the opportunity to see these when in the hurricane. Rumors are circulating of valuable raider caches, relics of the first wave that have been unearthed by the ferocious winds. If you can battle the elements, get through the arc, and outsmart rival raiders, who knows what you might be able to find. Finally, they wrap up by saying face the storm, using the conditions to avoid conflict or gain the upper hand. The true masters of the hurricane will be those that work with it, not against it. So honestly, I found this actually kind of fascinating. I don't know if I'm the only one, perhaps I am, but this map condition truly seems to be changing some of the flow of the game. It was one thing with like the cold snap that we saw, that you had to stay warm after X amount of time. But this, it changes it a bit more fundamentally speaking. I think especially when we saw the icon on the roadmap for wind as a map-based event, I was kind of wondering how in the world that would really be like anything different other than some slight visual changes. Maybe again, it would change the trajectory of like throwables, but how would this affect the genuine gameplay itself? This actually exceeds my expectations of what I was anticipating, where the wind and movement, it's cool you get a little speed boost if you're going with it, but it's also cool that it stalls you out and makes it a bit harder to traverse things if you're working against it. Changing elements of trajectories or throwables, again, that's something that's cool, but again, may have been the only part that I kind of anticipated, but debris being something else that actually hits into you and depletes your shield is a big game changer as well. That's really interesting of a twist in how it actually makes you interact with the environment. This perhaps maybe even being the biggest of gameplay changes, because you're either going to be constantly losing your shield strength and durability, meaning your shields won't last nearly as long either in-game or over time, and you end up having to either take a stack of shield rechargers and use those every time you want to move out in the open, or have to craft a new shield after every raid or repair a shield after every raid. It'll be interesting to see that dichotomy of either risking that or taking your shield off and putting it in your augment so that you end up having the ability to not damage that by just simply walking around. That big gamble, depending on what kind of lobby you're in. Might be something that if you are in maybe more friendly lobbies, you don't have to worry about it too much, but there's also definitely threats to consider if you're in those non-friendly lobbies. The first wave caches, this kind of sounds like there's higher tier or even new loot to discover in this, but we'll have to wait and see. But either way, actually kind of impressed with how this turned out to be on a more fundamental gameplay sense, rather than just, hey, there's some wind out there, guys. Yeah. So more meaningful than my initial guesses for the mode, which I'm definitely looking forward to now at this point. That said, they gave us some previews of what to expect with the map condition here, the new major modifier that will be, of course, the focal point for this event, but also, as we see with the cold snap and other things here, since in other limited time events of sorts were like these larger marketed areas, this will be something that's part of that regular rotation long term, which is cool. Of course, we do know that there's additional content to expect, while again, it hasn't been explicitly confirmed just yet. It's not a bad guess to also expect the other stuff from the roadmap for the larger Shrouded Sky update, given that this is the Shrouded Sky map condition with this. So again, while not guaranteed, it's a good guess we'll also see a new arc threat of some kind, whether this be a new arc type itself or something that is just like, as we mentioned before, it could just be the Shredders making their way into other areas of different maps as well. Finally, no longer being exclusive to Stella Montis, something that's been long teased by the developers over at Embark. Another player project is up on deck. At the moment, we still have the final days of the event for those couple of items you can end up getting in terms of like blueprints and other cosmetics for taking out arc enemies, but that's not a project. The projects we currently have are the expedition, as well as what we see with that trophy hunt event as well. That still does not have any designated time to go away, so it seems like we'll be having 3 projects all at the same time, if that comes as well. We'll see a new raider deck likely upcoming, a new map update of some kind. I'm not entirely sure what this will amount to just yet, but it's not a full new map, but it's also something that will be changing of one or multiple maps perhaps. We'll have to wait and see. And then of course the expedition window will open the following day on Wednesday the 25th, giving you a couple of days time to actually commit to the reset, but still a couple of days you can still gather towards completing your expedition or gathering enough resources in terms of your overall shared stash and coin value. You end up getting the amount of skill points you want out of that. But all in all, that is our first look and what may be our only preview for the Shrouded Sky update. I could be wrong, but off the top of my head, I don't recall there being much preview for the Cold Snap event and everything that came along with that. Last sort of major update of this caliber we've seen. But who knows? For the time being, that's what we know about the Shrouded Sky update and the new Hurricane map condition and how it'll change your gameplay itself. So that said, let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of the Hurricane map condition and what else we can maybe expect from the Shrouded Sky update? Anything in particular you're hoping to see out of this? Let me know. But if you guys enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. Of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Arc Raiders and even more FPS content. I'd love to have in the community. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.